We just launched this amazing new collection of Ombre Pat Gels, and today I'm going to show you some fun ways to use them and to create beautiful designs. In the kit, we have 12 different colors for you. We also have the little claw tool and our ombre sponges and a 3-pack of nail art masks. So we've got 4 different nails on here today. I'm going to show you 4 different designs. The first one is going to be kind of the classic. So this is going to be your basic pink and white ombre. We've started our nails with just our cover pink acrylic. We've filed and finished the nail. I'm going to cleanse that nail with a little bit of swipe, and we'll apply a coat of protein bond. So we'll go ahead and cleanse all 4 of our nails, and then we'll apply a coat of protein bond for really good adhesion. Alright, so just brushing 1 coat of protein bond all the way from cuticle to free edge. Okay, so for our first design, this is going to be kind of our classic ombre look. Okay, so we're going to grab our pat gel, and the one that I'm using for our ombre is called Hotel Sheets, and this is a nice bright white. Now, if you unscrew that cap, you'll be able to use that gel right out of the container. So if you're maybe using a brush or something like that for your other designs, you can use it right out of the container. Or if you're going to be working with the sponges, we'll put that cap back on. If you flip open that top, you're going to see an elastic mesh in there, and that's going to help you to get the proper amount for your ombre designs. So I'm going to grab our tool here, and this is our ombre sponge tool. If you press down the top, you're going to have that little claw pop out, and that is what we're going to use to pick up our piece of sponge. Okay, so we're going to use our ombre sponge tool. I'm going to press that top open, and we'll pick up a little piece of our sponge. And a couple other things, I always like to have either a table towel here, or sometimes I'll even use my ceramic tile, just so I have something to maybe clean out my sponge if I have a little bit of extra paint on the sponge. So to do our ombre, I'm just going to use my sponge. I'm going to press down onto that mesh, and I'm going to load up my sponge, and that little piece of mesh is going to remove any excess from my sponge so that I'm not overdoing it with the color. I'm going to hold my tool pretty much straight down onto the nail, and we're just going to start right at that free edge, just kind of patting all the way across, loading up that color onto the free edge, and then I'm going to work back a little ways. So just working back, and this is how I'm going to start to ombre and fade out that white. So once you have your color as far back as you want it, so that's where I'm going to take my table towel or my tile and just remove a little bit of that extra paint, and then I'll come back and work right through that edge. So this is really how I'm going to ombre out and really blend out that white, so it just fades right out into the pink. Now, if you do need to add a second coat of color, if maybe you want your white a little bit brighter, you can add a second coat, but we are going to cure this first one for a minimum of 30 seconds. So we're going to get that into the light, and again, cure for a minimum of 30 seconds to set it into place. Okay, so that first coat is cured. Again, if you want to add a second coat to make it a little bit brighter, you can definitely go ahead and do that. Same thing, load up your sponge, and then we're going to start at that free edge. Now, usually with my second coat, I don't blend all the way back. I'll just kind of load up that free edge a little bit, make it a little bit more bold, just right at the free edge, tap out that extra, and then blend that back. So this way we get that really good ombre all the way back, nice and bright at the free edge, nice and bright at our point of our nail, and then just lightly blending halfway back. Again, we're going to go ahead and cure that for 30 seconds. Okay, so our nail is cured out, and I'm going to go ahead and top coat all of our designs at the end. That way we can show you all of our beautiful looks. Okay, so for our second design, we're going to take that ombre one step further. So we're going to actually blend 3 different colors together. And the colors I'm using are Cake Bot, Fear of Invite, and the last one is Pageant Strays. Okay, so I'm going to open up the caps on our darkest color, our medium color, and then on our lightest color, that one I'm actually going to use right from the container. And I'm going to show you the reason why. So the light color, so basically we're going to be blending the light into the middle, into the dark, And when I work up around my cuticle area, I actually like to use a brush to apply that product. So this way, I'm not going to be sponging that gel onto the skin or onto the cuticle area. So by using the brush, I'm able to get that product right into the cuticle, get it nice and flush, and not getting any of that onto the skin. So just kind of blending that through. So I'm going to change out my sponge, and now I'll use that sponge to blend that out. So as I'm blending, this is going to help to smooth out that product and help to ombre it down the nail. But again, I just like to use that brush right up by the cuticle to keep everything nice and clean. So I'm just going to blend that about halfway down the nail. And I do like to start with my lighter colors because this way I can use that same sponge. I'll take out some of that extra, and then I can go to my darker color. If I started with my darkest color on the sponge, I probably wouldn't be able to reuse that sponge again. So we're going to take our medium color. I'm going to dab that right through the center, getting a nice amount on there. Take out that excess, and then we'll just blend right through where those two colors come together. So just kind of dabbing right through where those colors come together. And we'll dab out that lower edge, just kind of patting all the way through. Now, if I feel like maybe I need a little bit more of that lighter color on there, I can again take out some of that extra. I'll put my cap back on, and then we'll open that up. And I do really want to make sure that I get the majority of that darker color out so that I don't get that darker color into the lighter color in the jar. Grab a little bit of that lighter color and just blend that together. Now notice that I have not cured these layers. When you're blending colors together, I feel like it helps to keep each layer tacky so that they will blend together nicely. All right, let's go ahead and grab our darkest color, and this one is actually black. So grab a little bit of that and just tapping that all the way through. Blending that back up into our middle color. Okay, now it does look like I've got a little bit of that gel on the sidewalls. I always want to make sure to clean that up. So I'm going to grab a little bit of my swipe, and I'm going to grab my Polish Perfector detail brush, use a little bit of that swipe, and clean up around my edges, just to make sure that I'm not curing that gel on the skin. All right, we'll go ahead and get that into the light and freeze that a minimum of 30 seconds. Okay, so we've got our first coat cured. Now, if you like how that turned out, you can leave it as it is. If you feel like you want it a little bit more bold, you can definitely go back in and add a second coat. Now, I'm gonna go in with my sponge, again, cleaning that out as best as I can. Or you may even feel like you need to use a second sponge just to do up around that cuticle area, because now I've got that darker color in there. But you can see I'm just kind of rolling that sponge onto my towel, and that should get the majority of that color out of there. Now, if you feel like you need to, you can go back in with that brush up at that cuticle area, but I think I've already got enough color at my cuticle, so I'm just gonna go ahead and pick that up with the sponge and ombre that through. All right, again, I'm gonna tap out some of that extra. Maybe just get a little bit more right up at the cuticle, and then just gently ombre and just blend that into my next color. And pick up our second color, blend that in just a little bit more, deepen up that color. Now my light color and my middle color, I feel like those had really good coverage, and I probably didn't need to do a second layer of them because I liked how they looked. But the free edge, that darker, that black, I think that one really did need a little bit more coverage. So you can customize your looks however you want. Get that blended nicely, dab out that extra. And we'll grab a little bit more of that black and darken up that free edge. All right, I think I like how that is looking. Again, I'm just going to clean that out one more time and maybe just go through making sure everything is blended. And then once more, I'm going to use my perfector brush, touch up any edges, making sure that I don't have any of that product on the skin. We'll go ahead and freeze that in the light for a minimum of 30 seconds, and then we would top coat. So that one is cured out. For our third design, I think this is probably my favorite technique. This one is going to be the aura look. Now, I've tried this look with all kinds of other options, other polishes and different things like that. And with the Ombre Pat Gels, I find that you get amazing looks with this and great coverage and super easy. That's the best part about it. So we're going to be working with Blind Date SOS. And we're also going to be using Textify My Love. First one, the red, we're going to open up to the mesh. The second one, the orange, we're going to open up the entire jar. When we're doing an aura, we're going to get full coverage on our base color. So that's where I'm going to start with the orange. So again, we're going to use the brush to pick up just a little bit of that gel. And I'm going to apply that nice and thin. Now you guys, you don't need a lot of the gel on the nail. Very, very thin. I'm going to brush that up to my cuticle area. So as I'm applying this, notice that the color doesn't necessarily go on nice and smooth and even. I've got a little bit of texture of that filed enhancement underneath. So I'm not applying the product just with the brush. I'm applying the product with the brush to actually get that on there. But then I will go back to my sponge, grab another sponge, and I'm going to use that sponge to pat that out and smooth that out. So this way you're going to get really nice even coverage all the way through the nail. But I do like to start by applying it with the brush just so I have enough product on the whole nail. Again, a little bit of our swipe. Now we're going to go into our red. And again, that one I am working with that mesh on the top. I'm going to clean out some of that color. And I want to get as much of that out of there as possible. And then we'll load up our sponge with just a little bit of that red. Just tapping down in there. And we're going to start right in the center. And again, I'm just going straight down onto the nail. So just straight down onto the nail, tapping right in the center. Getting a good amount of that color just in the center. Now at this point, it's not ombreing out a ton, and that's perfect. Once I've got the amount that I want on there, I'll clean out that extra. Now I'm just going to tap that sponge around the edge of that, kind of that aura, that circle. And this is what's going to help to blend that out all the way around, blending that red into the orange. Now I may add a little bit more. Otherwise, if I like how the design is looking and I just want to make it a little bit richer, a little bit darker, I can definitely cure this and then add another coat. Now, if you did feel like you needed to add a second coat of the orange, you could add that before you start your red. But I think I like how that's looking. I am going to get this into the light. We're going to freeze that for 30 seconds and then we'll do a second coat. Okay, so that first layer is cured. And I do think I want to just darken up that red just a tiny little bit. So we'll grab a little bit more of that red right in the middle. Get a good amount on there. Tap out some of that extra. And then we'll just blend right around the edge. Just tapping through. All right, I am liking how that looks. And we'll go ahead and get that into the light again for a minimum of 30 seconds. Okay, so that one is cured out. Now on our last design here, we're gonna kind of add in a few of these techniques that I've been showing you here, but we're also gonna add one other thing, and this is also something that comes in the bundle. We're gonna use our nail art stencils. In the pack, there are 3 different pages of those, so you can use whatever shapes you like Today I'm going to be using the chevron shape, so that little V shape. Now, you can do this design over any of these other looks that we've created here. Today I'm choosing to do this over a dimensional nail. So this is kind of a fun, maybe if your client has the dimensional nails on, maybe she just wants to change it up at her fill, but she doesn't want to remove all of that glitter underneath. It's a great way to just kind of change up the look a little bit. So I'm going to take our nail here. I'm going to grab a couple of those ombre, or a couple of the masks, and you're going to notice there's a few different sizes on this page. So I can use either the skinnier pieces or the little medium ones or the wider ones. So it just depends on what look you're creating. I think maybe today we'll grab one of the medium ones. And I'm just using our tweezer, and I'm going to kind of roll that page back, and you can see how those little edges almost pop up. So I'm going to grab one of those edges, peel that off, and we're going to set that right down onto our nail. Stick that down nice and even. If you want to just leave it with one mask on there, you can just do one mask. Just to kind of mix it up a little bit, I'm going to grab one of those small ones. We'll peel that one off. And we'll set that down onto the nail as well. So wherever we're setting the masks down, that's going to leave negative space with your color that you put on. So making sure that is nice and flat down on there. I can even use the back end of my tweezer here to really make sure that is pressed down and nice and smoothly. Now for this color, or for this design, we're going to use two different colors. We've got Old Soul Tracks, which is blue, and we've got Elastique Brute, and that one is our purple. So we're going to grab our tool again. We're going to grab a sponge, grab my towel here, always have that handy. Now, on our other nails here, we were ombreing from either the cuticle forward or the free edge back. On this one, we're going to do an ombre, kind of a side-to-side ombre, and we're going to ombre it back just a little bit farther than our mask. So we'll take, I think we'll take a little bit of our, maybe we'll start with the blue. We'll start with the blue, and I'm just going to start to pat that up the side, covering in between each of those masks. Now you could stop it there and just have that edge of your blue right there, or I'm just going to keep going and ombre that back just a little bit more. Just patting that through. Oh, you guys, even just that color alone is looking good. Okay, I'm going to dab out some of that excess, and then just blend out that back edge. So we're just ombreing that back. Okay, grab a little bit of that purple, and we're going to do that same thing on the other side. A little bit more maybe. And then I'm just going to dab right down the center to get those two colors to blend really nicely together. Again, a little bit back farther. All right, and I think I like how that's looking. Now, if you feel like one coat of your color is enough, you could go ahead and remove your masks and then cure. But because I'm going to do a second coat of our color, I'm going to leave those masks on until after I'm done curing. All right, so we're going to go ahead into our light again for another 30-second freeze. Okay, so that was our first layer. Again, you can do one layer or multiple if you feel the need. Start with that blue. Pat that through the right side. Wipe out any excess. You can kind of see, I kind of roll that sponge a little bit to make sure that I catch those edges too, making sure that I get the product off of those edges. And then just blend out the back of the ombre. And we'll grab a little bit of that purple. Tap through the left side. Darken that up just a little bit more. Blend blend through. And I think I'm gonna blend out that ombre here just a tiny little bit more. All right, I think I'm liking how that's looking. Again, I'm going to pop that back into the light. Now at this point, I could either leave those masks on or we'll just take those off and then we'll cure our design. All right, so we'll get that into the light. Oops, before I do that, I see a little bit of that color on the side. Just want to make sure I clean that off before we go into the light. All right, so another minimum of 30-second cure. So we have all of our designs cured out and ready to go. I am going to top coat these. Now I'm going to be using our new gel polish top coat. You can use your stain resistant top coat if you want to use that. You can use your ultimate finish, whatever top coat you like. I am loving this new top coat. It is a thin top coat. It's going to go on nice and smooth, nice and even, and it is going to cure with a tack-free finish. So it's a great top coat to use to keep your nails and your designs looking nice and thin, but still have a beautiful high shine finish. So we'll just apply a nice even coat all the way through each nail, and then we will cure this top coat for a full 60 seconds. Okay, so our nails are fully cured out. Look at how fun those nails turned out, you guys. Look at how easy that process was, how quick. You're never gonna struggle with your ombre designs again. And you guys, I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Shh, don't tell anybody I told you. But this bundle that I've been using today, this is part of our acrylic mystery box for Black Friday. You get all 12 of these pat gels. You get the claw tool, that little picker upper tool. You get the box of the ombre sponges. You also get that set of 3 masks for your designs. All of this bundle together, I'm going to tell you, the whole entire bundle is $120. This bundle itself is $120 value. So everything else that you get as part of the acrylic mystery box is just an added bonus. So check out our mystery boxes now. Don't wait on this. Once this deal sells out, it's not coming back. So don't miss out.